Good afternoon. You're live with the three C's, and we're joined today by the fabulous Sue Flynn. As usual, myself, Emma Kirk, and Sarah Williamson are here. And today we're going to have a little chat with Sue. And we've had terrible technology issues all day, so bear with us. If anything goes pants or pear shaped, it's just the technology is all seems to be all against us. Um, Sue, welcome to the show. How are you?
Thank you. Yeah, I'm great. Thank you. Lovely to be here at last.
Excellent.
I'm glad you can hear me.
So, Sue, we met through breast cancer, and we both have a great love for Nordic walking. I'm really missing that on a Monday at the moment. We also have done a lot of events, such as fashion and fundraising, and we worked together on Shireen Hampshire's campaign raising funds at Pin.
Absolutely, yeah.
Do you want to tell us a bit about that?
One of the highlights of the year for for the fundraising campaign. It was brilliant, wasn't it? We met Shireen at the Nordic Walking as well. She actually started doing her Nordic Walking when she was in the middle of chemo, would you believe? And I think she was probably one of the most energetic out of all of us. We were all through our treatment. Shireen was right bang in the middle of it. And that's how we met Shireen. And then unfortunately, after a couple of years, she was diagnosed with secondary breast cancer. And she's such a giving person, as you know, as Sarah knows, that she wanted to give something back to the people in the chemo ward at Pinderfields, because she'd received a little gift pack while she was having treatment, and she thought, what a lovely idea, I'd love to do that for other people. Obviously it was too big a task for her to do on her own, so she enlisted the help of a few of us really. There was myself, there was Maria Elliott, who's another very close friend who we also met on Nordic Walking, and Chinny, another lady that Shireen knew, and we got together asking companies to send out donations of products, so everything from blankets to pamper products, moisturizers, hair conditioners, everything. And needless to say, Shireen did the most out of anyone and just had the most enormous result, that her whole garage was full to the brim, to the ceiling, much to the aghast of her husband, who couldn't use the garage for anything, with big boxes of donated products. Every day there was stuff coming. So we had a great couple of days just literally filling gift bags, and labeling them and making sure they had something in for older people, for younger people, for men who might have been having treatment. And we took them all over to Pinderfields. It wasn't long ago, really. It was one day last summer, and we handed them all over, and they were just absolutely delighted. And that kick-started another campaign. You know, Shireen was never one just to say, oh, well, that's fine, I'm not going to do any more. But she's still really keen to get fundraising together for cold caps. But obviously we've done really well. We've got a cold cap. How much was that, Sarah? Was it, did we get 3 cold caps?
Within a space of 6 months, we worked and raised £10,000 for a dual Paxton cold cap machine that could service 2 patients at the same time. And I think kind of things we did, bag packing in supermarket.
A whole range, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Maria did a head shave with her sister, extremely brave. But yeah, we did. It was a whole range of things, wasn't it?
Dog shirt, crafts.
Yeah. Oh well.
Yeah.
There's been crafts aplenty, hasn't there? And we did that, and we would have carried on, but the pandemic had other ideas, really, didn't it? Just as we were about to start doing a couple of things to get the garden sorted, I remember having a conversation with Sarah saying, "Oh, I don't think we're going to be able to allow anyone in the garden," and then suddenly lockdown happened, and that was that.
Yeah, we had these.
But still a tremendous result.
We'd got some grand ideas to bring in so that Shireen could enjoy a better quality of life with better weather. But everything is really involved with fundraising for many charities. And I guess I'm wanting to really a little bit about how COVID has affected you and your personal life. Obviously, you manage your properties in Turkey. My understanding is you've not been able to book any. Is that right?
Well, it is. Basically, we've been running a business in Turkey for 15 years now. Well, over that actually. It started before I was before I was diagnosed. But when I was diagnosed, we were just in the middle of selling one apartment and buying a villa. And so, you know, there was the usual restrictions on that. We couldn't go for ages while I was having treatment. And then we went out there to complete while I was, you know, in 45 degrees heat, while I had no hair and a wig. So I couldn't not wear the wig because I'd got a burnt head. So I had to wear this, you know what wigs are like. They're a nightmare for keeping you warm. So yeah, that had an impact on the whole thing. And then we've had all sorts along the way. We've had bird flu, we've had the coup in Turkey, we've had everything. And then, of course, the latest thing was the pandemic, and that has had the most unprecedented effect on travel worldwide, as you know, in ever known to man, really.
Did you sort of Sue, did you at any point sort of, with all these hints that were suggesting maybe Turkey wasn't the best place to be, did you ever think to yourself, I wish I'd picked a different country?
No, never. It's amazing. And no, I've never thought that. We were in it from the long haul at the beginning. We knew Turkey really well, and we knew that it was, you know, there was geopolitical instabilities and a government that was getting increasingly polarized and that kind of thing. But to be honest, nothing's really affected us too much over the years. The people that go to Kalkan go every year, as Sarah's aware. They're very quite resilient, more resilient than people going to normal holidays. But obviously the coup had an effect because it was the year after the coup actually that had the most effect, because the year of the coup was when people were or were not, as it happened, making bookings. So the actual year of the coup wasn't too bad because people had already booked the year before, but it was the year after that was worse. But no, this year I don't think anyone could have even thought about what was going to happen, because even when it was first mooted and the travel restrictions in March first came into place, everyone was expecting that to happen, and for the FCO to advise on all but essential, not any but essential travel, which is very limited, and that of course limits your insurance if you go against that. So you can't just decide to up and off anywhere. So we knew that, but what we didn't realise it was going to last so long. And the travel industry was crippled when the government decided they were going to introduce a quarantine a long time after the virus actually started, and that hit the airlines. I mean, we're a small business, and yes, we were very badly hit, but the airlines, I think, have had it far worse, because they bought all the fuel ages ago, so they're really out of pocket and struggling. I've just had an email before I came online today with someone saying, I've just booked a flight for the 24th of July, and it's been cancelled. So they're still being cancelled even today, and he's just got notification. So it's ongoing. I think it'll be all the way
used
through,
to in a previous life, Sue, I used to work for Thomas Cook's, and then I worked for First Choice. And one of the things that I was saying to people is the difficulty that they have is that unless the government is telling you that you can't travel, you are stuck in a situation where you can't cancel, because if you cancel, you will lose your money. And there are, of course, now flights that are going, and a lot of
Yeah.
people are concerned that the flight is going and they're not going to be able to get the money back.
That's right.
Which I'm seeing quite a lot of people in that situation, which is
I'm not
it's
surprised.
another kind of kick up the bum, isn't it? Really, to
Yeah.
your
I mean,
whole kind of rubbish summer.
yeah, the whole industry is on its knees because of it, and no one, it's no one's fault as such. It's just the way things are, and people are starting to travel, but it's not without its risks either. So it depends on what you want. Some people are dead against it, and they'll say, "I'm not going anywhere near a plane or an airport," and you can perfectly understand that people's views, especially if they've had treatment or not long ago had treatment, and they've been on steroids or other immune suppressing drugs, they shouldn't definitely not go anywhere at all. But for others, they can't wait to go. So it's a mixture, a total mixture. But
I think from my observation too, airlines didn't really know how to cope, and they cancelled our bookings. But at the same time, with government direction, I think the industry itself want to boost the economy and give people those they've been looking forward to. But can you give us some tips? Because, when we chatted recently, we talked about the safety and the due diligence checks that travellers can take out when they go to the airport.
Definitely. I mean, obviously, people need to travel, not just to go on holidays, for all sorts of reasons. I know of people who've, they've got mums and dads that they haven't seen for ages, or elderly grandparents, kids, sisters, 18th parties, weddings, and all sorts, and people just haven't been able to travel. So it's not just holidays. So even if you don't want to go on holiday, but you need to make a journey, there are certain things that you can do to literally mitigate, how dangerous it is. And it's not really, there's nothing that's immensely dangerous. It's just that increasing risk at all stages. And, if you've gone to the pubs this weekend, you would probably be at more risk than you would on an aeroplane, for various reasons. But you do just have to weigh it up, because there's a certain amount of well-being involved as well. If people want to go look forward to the holiday, and get the excitement of the family and all that kind of stuff, then it's important that they just take a step back, think, how can I do it as safely as possible, and be safe at the other end as well. And really, one of the first things you should do is check your insurance policy. It's amazing how many people don't even have insurance, and it's usually people who've got conditions, because they say it's too expensive. It was too expensive, or I was leaving it until just before we travelled. Well, there's no point in doing that, because you should always book your travel insurance. If you haven't already got it, you should book it when you book. And any travel agent on the high street would tell you that, because I remember going in there when I was younger, booking a holiday on the high street, as we did, and always telling you need to book it, because you could go out of the shop and break your leg or something. So it needs to be done at the time of booking, and that's just doesn't happen with people. So we always try and say,
you don't have to take the insurance from the travel company. You can shop around and get one a bit cheaper. But
exactly, yeah.
I do think that medical conditions sometimes make it. I used to sell travel insurance as well, so it does make it a little bit more expensive for your holiday. But one question that I wanted to ask, a lot of the anxiety that I'm hearing is people concerned about the property cleanliness that they're staying in. If you're in your own house or you're going to visit somebody who you trust, it's different to staying in a hotel or a different property. Is there any sort of way that alleviating fear for those people?
Definitely. I think they need to speak to whoever they've booked the place with, whether it might be a travel agent, it might be TUI, or EasyJet holidays, Jet2 holidays, or it could be direct with someone like myself. And they really just need to ask what extra precautions are being put in place. What we're doing, for an example, is like in the taxi transfers from the airport, it's an hour and a half's journey. You have to wear a mask. the driver has to wear a mask. And also the car is cleaned and sanitized with one of those, the men in hazmat suits with the big spray and fogging it everywhere. I think a little bit of it's done for dramatic effect and to increase confidence, but it does actually sanitize it between every person that's in the car. So and they say that's as much for, to protect the driver as it is, well, probably more so to protect the driver actually than the passengers, because we're from the UK and they don't have any cases in where my properties are. So there's that kind of thing. But also I think they need to look at the airport, make sure that they take their own food with them. And they're not having to go and queue in Boots for a sandwich, because people forget it's just natural to think, oh, I'll go to Boots and get a sandwich, or I'll get something on the plane. I don't think a lot of them aren't offering. I think Ryanair are doing food on the plane, but none of the others are, as far as I know. But I really would advise just taking your own and not getting to the airport very early, getting there, as not without cutting it fine and leading to stress. Get there in enough time to be able to check in, but not hang around shopping and browsing duty free and all that business. You need to get to where you're going and get on the plane, have your mask on, you take your own water onto the plane, and just keep your head down, download something on your iPad or whatever, and don't really start engaging and chatting with people, because that's another thing people do. They start talking to people that they're never going to see again on the aeroplane. So there's no loss in just keeping yourself to yourself and keeping your mask on. Evidence coming up and down every 5 minutes, and apparently Ryanair was still selling scratch cards, which isn't a great idea, I would have thought. But there you go, that's Ryanair. But there's all sorts of things that you can do and your cases are another thing. We're advising people where possible to just take hand luggage, because if you put a case in and check it in, apparently it goes through kind of 8 different people before you actually pick it up again at the other end. So we're saying a lot of like Jet2 give you 10 kilograms free to take on board, and that's enough for most people. If you pop some stuff in a vacuum pack and pack your 10 kilogram hand luggage, you should actually, and a handbag, you can keep them with you, and it means that you can get out double quick at the other side. You don't need to hang around at the carousels. But the only thing I would say is, as well, if you do have to, obviously some people have to check suitcases in if they've got a big family or whatever, but that you should take sanitizing wipes and just wipe down the handle areas, where they might have got hold of it and whacked it on the pile, as it were. And just be really, really vigilant the whole time. And I really, in that case, don't see an awful lot of increased risk as long as you're careful. But when people go on holiday, you know what they're like. But the one good thing is there's no alcohol being served on the planes. So you're not going to get people, having one too many and start, chatting and laughing and all those things that apparently increase the risk of the aerosols from the mouth, and that kind of thing. So it's a new normal for sure. And it's a normal that some people probably, might not want to do. But for some people, it's a must.
Do you know the distance of seating on the plane?
Of what?
The seating.
Eating.
Seating, yeah.
Seating, yes, eating.
Eating. You can take your mask off for that.
No, I think she said the distance of seating.
Oh, seating. It can't be socially distanced. And I think EasyJet said that they might take out the middle seat, but they're not doing. I think really at the moment what you have to rely on is that the flight probably isn't going to be massively full. So there might, for the time being, you might be okay to be able to have a seat or two across to yourself or something if you're lucky. But you can't really socially distance in an aircraft, and they have admitted that.
So Do you know if they are doing temperature checkings on check-in?
It depends. It depends on the airport. Not in the UK, as far as I know.
So
I
the
know
UK aren't checking your temperature before you board a plane?
not at Manchester, you weren't checked. I don't know about Leeds, but you're getting it checked at the other end when you get to, well, from my point of view, when you get to Dalaman and when you get to Antalya, you are checked. And
So if you've got a high temperature at the other end, they just send you back on the next plane?
No, apparently. They send you to a government facility. And this is in Spain, in Italy, and everywhere. A government facility, which in usual circumstances tends to be a hotel. The hotels are, well, in Turkey anyway, they've been told that they have to leave a floor free for quarantine. So that will be the government facility. Otherwise, it could be the local prison, which actually has a really nice cafe. Believe it or not. People go for lunch to the prison. That's Turkey for you. But
that's brilliant.
They do a mean kebab. I've never been. I don't think I'd dare in case I got kept in. But yeah, that's the situation. But in Turkey also what they're doing, I believe, anyway, is you're being offered, if you want, a PCR test, the swab test for £15. So that, I think some people might actually take them up on that, just because they're expensive here. I think it's 170 here for a PCR test. So people might take them up on that. But the other thing the Turks have introduced, Sarah and I were chatting about insurance, and on our normal policies, what kind of things might be excluded. And accommodation is excluded now. Any policies that were taken out after March 17th exclude COVID accommodation and flights, because the flight company will reimburse the flights. But they should actually cover medical conditions, unless the ones that have just been took out now and they have a total COVID exclusion clause in them. So it's so necessary to really read the small print and ring them up and ask and record the conversation. That's a good idea. But otherwise, what I was going to say is, and in Turkey, and I don't know if this is the same at other places, they're offering specific COVID health insurance to people when they check in, when they get to the airport, and you can do it online beforehand, and they're charging £15, and it's almost kind of, unlimited health and ICU cover if in the unlikely event that you would actually need hospital treatment. So that's really helpful for some people, but it's only for those under 65. So and as Sarah knows, there are a lot of people go to Calcan who are over 65. They're very fit, but they do happen to be over 65. So not so good for the older people or people traveling with parents and things.
It's really reassuring that the Turks have got something in addition to normal insurance.
Yeah.
The Research UK extensive list for cancer patients that are looking for travel insurance, worth shopping around, and also applications online, because sometimes cheaper than a telephone or an insurance. But like you say, it's really important to look at detail around COVID.
It is. And also, I would really, really advise people not to go through the cheapest insurance, because they're often, there needs to be one of the 5-star policies to give you decent cover, because I know people who've had totally unrelated to COVID, but things. One guy had a heart attack when he was staying at one of our properties a few years ago, and he got treated. He had to be ambulance to Antalya, which is 4 hours away, but he had the best of treatments. He had stents put in and all sorts. And somebody said, you wouldn't have actually survived if you'd have been here, because they didn't do that kind of treatment so quickly. But obviously he was insured, he had a proper insurance, and they were brilliant. They sent a doctor to Turkey to go back with him on the plane. He had 3 seats to himself, and well, with his wife as well. She was on another 3 seats. So they looked after them really well. And the wife, who was still in contact with, she said she couldn't, if that they weren't insured, should have been totally, scuppered, really. It would have been a nightmare for her. It was a nightmare as it was, but less of a nightmare because she knew that she was covered and she didn't have to worry about anything. So yeah, that's a lesson. And it's only just come to me. It's only really just been revealed this year how many people travel without it. It's incredible.
What was the percentage?
Sorry?
What sort of percentage was it that we're travelling without?
I'd say about 25%.
Wow.
And
That's the first thing that I book, though. That's crazy.
Yeah, me too. I have an annual policy. And we've always had an annual policy. And I think the other thing is, people have said their annual policies were running out, and so they didn't renew them, or they had annual policies that actually renewed after the COVID was known. So some policies were saying, well, you were like mine, we were with Liverpool Victoria, and ours did that, and they said, well, you're still covered for the same as you would be before because it's a continuation. But I don't think that's true of all policies.
I think for those people that renew their policy, that when they break, that's where there's a problem, isn't it? They can't have terms and conditions.
Yeah.
Original agreement, so they're increasing cover, but they're not going to get the same amount of cover.
So that's right. And a lot of them now you can actually buy top-ups. So it's a bit of a scam, really. But if people need it, they need it. But they'll buy the insurance and then they'll be offered a COVID top-up, which probably now these days, if it's available, would be quite pricey because obviously COVID's such a known risk now. They can't really put a figure on it because it's it's everywhere. So, but yeah, I mean, if you are going to go away, you must check your insurance is valid. And I would say definitely give them a call if you're not sure, because some of them can be difficult to understand. Even the ones, like the ones I had when I was going through treatment and afterwards, I was with different cancer ones, and Stay Sure were usually quite good as well. Even them can be a bit of a nightmare. So it's worth shopping around.
I've had the great pleasure of staying in your luxury property, beautiful coastal area of Calcutta. And all I can say is you wake up to the biggest view that you just, it takes your breath away because it's so blue, the sky's all sunny, and the people are so friendly, and you can get everywhere on foot.
Yeah, everywhere's on foot, isn't it?
Yeah, the cuisine there is typical, and a lot of British chefs go, don't they?
Yeah, Mark Hicks, who's a British chef, goes, and he helps out at one of the restaurants. But also Angela, what's her name, who's on MasterChef, the tough one. But yeah, they all, a lot of them go because the restaurants are such good quality. But even after 15 years, the view takes my breath away. And everyone says the same thing when you come around the bend and come to Calcan. Everyone has a lump in their throat. And so many people haven't. Go on.
And I was saying, and that's not because the taxi man was driving too fast then.
Well, you do get that as well, yeah. Sometimes they do get you there in record time. But maybe now they have to wear masks and things. It might be a little bit slower. Maybe make them take things a bit more carefully. Oh yeah, they do like to give a good white knuckle ride. That's for sure. We drive ourselves, needless to say.
Back to Calcutta, and the fact that you're independent, you've got luxury, you can walk out and eat wherever you want. The locals are really friendly. There's boat trips. There's so much to do. You have cleaners as well. It's changed in terms of the cleaner that you employ on the ground.
Say that again, Sarah. Just missed it.
In your properties,
Yeah.
obviously, things have been quiet for a while, and I know you've been upgrading, fantastic furnishings, etc., tools. In terms of the staff, has
The
there been much?
maintenance.
Yeah.
The maintenance and cleaning staff we've kept on full time. Obviously, they haven't needed to see any guests yet. But yeah, because they had to fill the pool. We had a new pool done, actually. We've had a new pool put in the villa and in the apartments, which we haven't seen yet. And so it needed to be filled, otherwise the grout would have cracked. So we had to have it filled. And that obviously it needs to be filtered and maintained, so that the chemicals. They've had to continue doing that. They've continued to clean the patio every day. I see them on my CCTV because it comes up on my phone. I see them every day with the hoses out. They love to hose things down. It's one of their specialities. And they love to just flood everywhere. So yeah, they've been watering the plants and all that kind of stuff and painting the railings. So I've given them a long list of things they could be getting on with. And this afternoon, I'm going to find out just how many things on the list they've done. So they haven't all been done, I know that.
That's not good, especially if you can see them on CCTV.
Yeah.
When are you going back out yourself, Sue?
Not until the 26th of September. That's a disappointing thing because I would have been there the same time as Sarah. But I think probably next year we will as well. So
definitely.
But yeah, we're not going until the 26th because we're actually booked up until then. We've got our first guest going out on the 16th of this month, and that's it then, right up until we go. So I'm taking my sister and my brother-in-law with us this time. So that'll be interesting to see how long we can go for without fighting. Probably my guess is about 2 days.
Make sure it's a large villa so you can spread out.
We'll look forward to it.
So Sue,
yeah, I can't wait to go back. Have you got any plans for going away, Emma?
Me? No, I didn't book anything at the beginning of the year, unfortunately. It wasn't planned very well. I was going to do something last minute at Easter, and then we were going to go back to Krakow. But yeah, that obviously fell through. And normally I go away in June with my mum, just me and my mum together, which obviously hasn't happened. She's a little bit anxious, I have to say, about I think more for my dad, really, because she's probably better health than him, so she's been quite anxious, with my dad. But hopefully we'll get somewhere at the end of the year. I don't think I can cope without the idea of going somewhere.
I know. Would you go somewhere in this country or?
You can go in this country, but my problem with this country is that it's July and we've had nothing but torrential downpours and like gale force winds.
Yeah. I've been soaked so much in the last few days on dog walks. I've come back and I'm drenched.
Yeah. We went for a walk on Sunday, and there were some points where the wind was that strong you were almost walking at a horizontal angle like that. It's like this is July, but no, I do.
My dog wouldn't even go out in those winds. She wanted back home.
Yeah, I know. I would probably, because, like you've said, there's so many things that are already in place. I don't think I would be concerned about traveling, and I think that airlines have got to be so careful. I don't think they would put. It's like when you go on a plane and there's a lot of turbulence and everybody gets really scared, and I sort of sit there and say, you know what, the plane and the airline would not take off if they didn't think that they could do it safely, because they can't afford the insurance payout.
No, absolutely. I know, and if you make sure you go to the loo beforehand as well, and people aren't drinking alcohol or anything. I can't drink on a plane anyway. I'm useless. I'd have a migraine. But so much now, so that's a really good thing.
Yeah, I think actually there's a lot of positives, isn't there? Like if you're not getting stag do's and hen do's, getting drunk on a plane, then actually it might be quite a nice flight.
No. That's it, because they can't get everyone together to go on a hen night or a stag do these days, can they? It's too much organisation in current times. It must be a bit of a logistical nightmare to do anything like that.
Yeah, definitely.
But yeah, I think now things are getting. I mean, they're not getting back to normal in terms of COVID, but in terms of availability and things, hopefully, at least we'll be able to get back to a bit of the walking and things like that we were doing before, like our Nordic walking, maybe something that we can get back into. And Emma, you've been doing exercise programs online, haven't you?
Yeah, I have. Yeah, twice a week. It's been a little bit more difficult than I would have liked, in terms of sometimes we're stuck with occasional internet issues, but I can't see what people are doing. And obviously I've been exercising and training the same as normal, and it's difficult for me to assess how well people are coping with it. Is it too much? Are they doing it correctly? But we've continued it, so hopefully now with the introduction of the walks and getting maybe people a bit more back to like you said, not normality, but just a bit more socialization as well.
Definitely.
And I have heard that gyms should be open in a couple of weeks, so hopefully we can go back to being one face to face as well. So
just being able to keep moving and not be in one place all the time is useful as well, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
No, I can't wait.
I look forward to that much, because we always put the world to rights. Compare.
Absolutely, yeah, we do. No one's safe.
Oh,
no, I can't wait for that either. And you went on a walk yesterday as well, didn't you, Sarah? I was very impressed.
Yeah, 3 miles. We did good. If people want to go to Turkey, how do they get in touch with the property that you service?
Well, our website is, I should have had a cap on with it or something, is calcanmagic.com.
Hold on.
Which is calcanmagic.com. So they can just go on there. There's a contact on there as well. Or they can just FB Messenger me, or even through like Mid Yorkshire or anything like that. They can, and I'll always do a preferential rate for people who've been through treatments and have come to me via friends and things. I know, I'd much rather do that. I'd much rather let to people who I think would really enjoy a holiday than someone else. So yeah, any mode of communication really, or even just if they go through you, Sarah, if you're the easiest point of contact and you can pass it on to me.
Sue, have I spelled that correctly? Is it CALCAN?
KALKAN. K for kicking K.
I feel like I'm at school. Okay.
calcanmagic.com. And all the properties are on there. We've got a range from 2-bed apartments to villas, and we've got 2 apartments in a villa, but I also rent some friends and neighbours out as well. And some of them are bigger than ours, some of them are smaller. So it's full range, and they're all within walking distance, because Calcan's on a hill. So if you're not in the centre, it means you need your walking boots on. It's really hilly, isn't it, Sarah?
So we need plenty of practice then before we go.
Yeah. We call it Calcan calves. You get Calcan calves when you've been there about a week. Just from walking in the old town, because it's all steep.
I think Emma might be joining next. Sue, for a girls' holiday.
Oh
That
yeah,
sounds
that
good.
sounds good to me. Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be great, wouldn't it? Yeah,
It would. Well, it's great being able to see you face to face.
I know.
It's been a long.
Well, hopefully it won't be too much longer.
Yeah.
We might not be able to hug and kiss, but we can give an elbow bump.
We can do.
Yeah.
Well, it's a real pleasure to see you today, and we hope that you have a great to Calcan for sharing information about insurances and what's happening.
Well, even if anyone's travelling anywhere else and they want a bit of advice, I'm more than happy to just, to help anyone even if they've just got a question about going abroad. I'll help them as much as I can. It's fine.
Brilliant. Yeah, brilliant.
So,
And I'm sure I'll see you in Turkey.
Yeah, that would be amazing. That'd be really good. Fantastic. Well, thank you so much for having me.
Thank
and all
you.
those great questions. Hopefully somebody's got, might have something out of it, and a little bit more information than they had before.
I will make
And
sure
it's
we
all
share
about
it as well. So
confidence.
yeah, definitely.
Brilliant. Well, thank you
you
so
for today.
much.